All right, we're on. Got Steve here with me. Steven, hello.
Hello, hello.
So you've been on the podcast before. It's been a long time. I think last time, when did you do your podcast where you talked about it? Was like,
Oh, it was the fall. It's been a while. I've been busy, which is a good thing. So
yeah. So I did the podcast last week, and you and me, we had talked, and I had mentioned at the end of the podcast I was going to do an interview with you because you've been doing coaching with me, but you're running your whole business by yourself. One thing that you said to me before, and you said it in your earlier podcast with me, is you said, hey, any massage therapist that puts a cap on their growth will, I don't remember how you said it. You said it better than I
they're
did.
never going to be successful. You can have a good job or you can have a successful career. There's a big difference between the two. One will help you get by paycheck to paycheck. The other one lets you live the life you want and actually meet your potential. And that's the biggest thing people are missing when you go after just putting a cap on yourself. Trust me, I'm doing a lot more now than I ever thought I was going to do, even from right before COVID hit. I had no clue the potential I had until I just took the cap off.
Yeah, and that what I talked about in that last podcast, and this is what I've been trying to just kind of bang the drum about. And we have people in our coaching program from all over, and I always say it's never a shameless plug, like it actually works, because a lot of people say to me like, oh, it works for you because you're a doctor, but what about other people? Like, you're just a regular dude, massage therapist that's been in it for a long time. But I talked about this, I'm like, if you can fix something in 20 minutes that takes another person an hour or never fixes it, aren't you way more valuable? And people get pissed at, they don't get pissed. They send me feedback on the podcast and they're like, hey, just stick to talking about the treatment. Like, that's all we really want to do. And I understand that that's where it is, but there's so much more to it than just the treatment. Yes. And we can train you and show you how to be the best fucking hands-on practitioner in the entire world, how to do it more efficiently and figure problems out. But we also have to teach you how to sell and how to market and do that. And that's what you've been able to figure out as well.
Yeah, and my argument with that would be, it's not so much, yes, you fix something in 20 minutes for those who fix it in 50, but if you had the ability to fix something in 20 minutes and the ability to see 3 clients an hour instead of 1, wouldn't you want to have that moral obligation to do that and be able to treat more people effectively, safely, responsibly? There's so many more perks to doing that. My clients love coming here because they know I'm going to be on time. I'm going to get the job that they need done. I'm going to help them and they can get back onto their lives. As I said before, traditional spa massage, if you will, it has its place in our industry, but it's not fixing things on the physical aspect. It's not helping you out with scar tissue or injuries. And so when it comes to truly fixing things and being a specialist, and if you have the ability to do that and help more people at the same time, why wouldn't you want to? I think that's the big takeaway from that one is just, I have the ability to do that, so I do. And my clients appreciate that because I respect their time, they respect mine, but I'm able to be a more effective therapist to more people in the same window of time.
What would you also say too, and you know this too, and a lot of the people that I do coach with, they own their own business, and they're super booked up. Like, they might be booked up for 2 or 3 months at a time, but they're burnt the fuck out. Like, what would you say to people like that? And this is like the people that have come into my coaching, they've come to me and they're like, hey, I'm at my max limit. I'm not going to make it. And they need to make that strategy and that shift and that focus into like cutting their treatment times down, but still being paid the same, but they don't believe they can do that. So what would you say to someone who's like busy and they feel like, it's almost like they feel bad for being busy. They're like, well, I shouldn't, I'm happy and grateful, but they're not, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable because you're doing something wrong. I hate to say it, put it that way, but if you're burning out, it's because you're overworked. Just like our clients, there's something going on long-term that's not going to allow you to step up to the level that you need to be. So if you're getting burnt out, you're putting in too many hours, you can't really grow your business because you can't do more. You have to find a way to change and be a more effective practitioner. That's what it comes down to. I was telling you before we got on the podcast today is like, I've had a long day. I saw 22 clients today, 22. And the only part of me that hurts is my brain, because mentally breaking down each client's individual problems from 7 a.m. to now it drains me, but I take the time to understand what that client needs in the moment, and then I decompress later. So
So
I had
yeah,
22 clients, and go ahead.
so someone listening to this that doesn't know anything about what we do or how we do that, they hear 22 clients and they go, "Holy fuck, that's like a whole week's worth of work."
Yeah.
So explain to them like what goes into that to be able to do, because you see 4 an hour, right?
Yeah, right now I do 4 an hour. I do up to 6, and I put a 30-minute block in there for myself just to get caught up. But I'll see up to 6 clients, which for me is an hour and a half of work. It's 15-minute blocks. And I know somebody listening will think that's ridiculous. You can't have a client come in for 15 minutes and pay you the $75 a session that they pay me. But they do, because that's 15 minutes of value they're not getting out of an hour and a half session with a generic corporate massage therapist that comes in and runs a routine. My 15 minutes is more effective because I've already done my homework on this client. And I think
And
that's a big thing there.
how did you do your homework? So that's what people don't understand. Like I get stuff all the time where people are like, "Oh, you're a charlatan," and like whatever bullshit, whatever. What goes into what have you had to earn before that? Like how much time are you spending with that client
Oh, no,
before?
time is the word. It's time and quality coming in there. You get an average massage client that walks in off the street, you have 5 whole minutes to get their entire background and understand exactly what they're doing, what they need, and how you can help them. That's not enough time to process anything other than just surface layers of knots, as I like to call it. But clients that reach out to us, they go through a whole screening process, because I would tell the client all the time, I'm not going to waste your time if I can't help you. And they appreciate that because I'm respecting their time. But I've gone through a whole series of questions asking detailed information about their injury, what's going on, how long it's been happening, how it's affecting their life. I understand exactly where they're coming from across the board on that. If I feel like we are a good fit, and I always say that phrase, it's not if you're a good fit for us, it's if we are a good fit for you coming in. If our treatments are going to help you, we'll go on to the next step. And we do an evaluation. We do a Zoom consultation first. We get together from that initial screening to a Zoom consultation where they meet with me, get to see my face, ask questions if they see fit, and I can do a more thorough screening, doing more homework. From there, they come in for an evaluation. They spend time with me and a member of our staff and go through a whole series of range of motions, functional evaluations, so I can get an understanding of what's really going on with them. I've gotten my hands on them, and I can get an idea of how well our treatments work prior to them coming on board. So in that period of time, I put several hours of my time into that client so that when they're coming in for their 15-minute appointment, they already see the value. I've done my homework, and at that time, they understand what they're getting from me with each one of those appointments. And it's set up so that they know what's happening in the future. They don't have to guess. I don't have to guess. I've done the homework. I can come in, have an effective treatment, and move on, with their lives from there, so on and so forth. And it works. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Doing the homework up front, huge game changer.
So this is what you've learned, and you've seen this. You've been around me for a while now. I think it'll be 2 years in October. But you realize the idea of when you're doing and you're finding your marketing and your message, you have to decide who you want to help, but you also have to decide who you don't want to help.
Correct.
So what happens is, I think so much, and COVID's made this even worse, is everyone's in like a scarcity mindset. They're like in this idea of like, oh, there's only so many limited people. So they end up taking on people that they shouldn't, people that have to like give them shit and they kiss their ass and having to do all that. You're able to figure out who you want to help and how you want to help. And you've already pitched yourself and you've put yourself in the idea of you're an injury specialist. You specialize in certain areas of the body and this is what you do. So you've already been looked at as that true solutions provider. At the end of the day, people want someone that's sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a true expert. And that's how you earn that 15-minute time. So you first qualify and get the right type of person. Then you're able to figure out if you want to do that. You take them into a Zoom, and a Zoom is great. I talk about this all the time. It can help your business so much. Anyone across the board. I talked about like if you got sexual perverts that are trying to come in, they're not going to want to do a Zoom. It helps you just get face to face with that person too. Maybe you'll see if they're crazy or you're not going to be able to help. And it's COVID proof too, because you can be like, hey, we like to do this first before you even come in. So it lowers that bar of entry, but then you do a thorough exam, but you're able to split it up. So you're always thinking, you're not in a rush. You're not like, oh, I got 5 minutes to figure this out. You're like, I'm critically thinking and being able to solve the problem so that when it's all said and done, you know exactly what the problem is, you know where the problem is, and you know how to fix it. And nobody's doing that. Nobody's solving problems. And what's the best part of all this, Steve? What is the best part of all this? What happens in the end? Does the client just go, okay, let's see what we do? Or do you tell him, hey, you're going to start by coming in twice a week for the first 4 weeks? Do they do that?
Absolutely, every time. And if they don't agree to that, there's no deal. They have to commit to their care. We always say from the get-go, our system works, but it happens because of the process, and you have to commit to the process. We're not, as I put out there all the time, we're not an as seen on TV quick fix. We're not a miracle, pill coming out there, because they don't work. People that come in have already done that route, and you require them to commit to the process, and then they pay up front as a result of that. And people that don't want to pay up front are going to wait halfway through, have one good day, and drop off. Then in 3 weeks down the road, when they're not feeling better, they're going to blame you because you didn't fix them, even though they didn't fix the problem. So you're just really about sticking to your guns, having faith in the product, believing in yourself as a practitioner. I know my value. It took me, again, a year and a half, 2 years of doing this to really understand my value as a soft tissue specialist. I own the clinic. We operate under a massage establishment license. I'm a massage therapist. Everyone on staff is a massage therapist, and everybody else who is a massage therapist has the potential to do the same thing. And on top of that, I also don't work nights and weekends.
You don't?
Kind of a perk. It's kind of a no-brainer. I told you the big three from before: nights, weekends, and holidays. Any massage ad out there right now, the first thing you must be available for is nights, weekends, and holidays. I don't work any of them. And I'm been, fortunate success to do that because I believed in myself, and I believed that I could change. I always say, all the time, I'm not special, I'm just committed. I committed to the product 100% from day one. And yes, there's some ups and downs. There's always some rocky roads in there, and there's always self-doubt. When I took over the company full time, I had a lot of sleepless nights because it's human nature to doubt yourself. But from February, March, April, now into May, that climb is still going. I haven't even peaked yet. I'm nowhere near peaking, but everything's improved month by month. And I've seen, you said it from the get-go, you won't see the results of your labors until 2 months down the road. Yeah. It's one of the first things you told me when I was doing all the behind-the-scenes business stuff, is you don't see the fruits of your labors for 8 weeks down the road because of the way the system is. And that's a lot of time for people to have self-doubt. And so I tell you up front, expect it, but know that your hard work is going to pay off. And it goes back to believing in yourself, believing in myself, believing in the program.
I think, and just to reiterate, so people don't know that they know this. So it's one thing when you there's a lot of things that massage therapists struggle with, and I talk about this, but you have to be a leader and tell the client what's going on and being a person with a plan. So you say, hey, on the report, we do what's called a report of findings. After the eval, we tell them what's wrong, and you say, I need to see you twice a week for the next 4 weeks to get started. So most people will be like, okay, and then they sign up and they do that, and then, like you said, you don't know if they're going to leave after 3 or 4 visits. But what you do and what we train people is they paid for all 12 of those visits up front. So they're financially committed. And we do the same thing. I say personal trainers do it all the time. They have you pay for all your sessions up front. Why do they do that? So you can stay more accountable. And why can't we do this in the massage field, in the injury treatment space? And you're proving that you can do that. So then that person's committed. You're getting paid accordingly for what you do. And you have a chance to actually fulfill and fix them. That's the difference between everything else out there.
Well, and it's even from a fundamental level. There are, again, nameless corporate massage companies out there. They're doing the same thing too. They charge you monthly upfront for your credits, and then you have to go back and cash them in. So it's not even that far-fetched to believe that a massage therapist can prepay for their care. It's already being done by people who are making more money than that. We can do it too. So it's not really that revolutionary. It's just you have to have the nerve and the confidence to ask for it and say, this is what it takes to see me. You can do the other program, but if you want to see me, you reached out to me, this is what it is. And I think there's a big thing that goes out there with massage therapists are my clients and I are equals. I'm not the help. I'm not the assistant. I'm not at their beck and call. If anything, I'm the authority figure. But and that being said, a lot of times massage therapists are have this thing, I'm here to help you. Well, I am here to help you, but you came to see me. So my presentation of how I present myself to my clients are on the same level from there, which not everybody likes, but that's just how it, that's the truth. You have to present yourself as the professional, as the leader, as, the one directing everything, and then they listen to you.
I think we run into that so much is that we tend to be so service based.
Mhm.
And that just puts you in a bad spot. It puts you inferior, and we're afraid to like tell people what they really need to hear, and we tell them what they want to hear, and
Yeah.
you just become very subservient, and then you have that where they don't take you credible. And a big shtick of mine is I want massage therapists to be taken seriously as a healthcare provider, especially when it comes to injury treatment, because they're the best. So one thing about Steve, and he doesn't do it, and I try to get him to do it more, is he's very humble and he doesn't brag. But I want you to just tell people what you make an hour
Yeah.
and where you're at now, because people just need to hear it, because they hear it and they're like, that's not for me. That's great for him, but that doesn't work for me. Like, where are you at right now? You've been learning from me for a long time, but you've really dove in probably over these last 3 or 4 months where you're just running it completely by yourself. So where are you at?
Yes, I'm on my own. I've seen a growth starting from January. We started running ads through there, and I had some rollover from 2020, but starting specifically in February, which is pretty much all 2021, I'll say, just throw numbers out there. I closed $8,500 in sales, in new sales in February, with new clients coming in across the board. For those of you who don't as I've said in the past, how we work, we charge anywhere from our maintenance clients $50 a session up to $78 per session. 4 sessions an hour, we'll call it 75 to round it easily. That's $300 an hour to see new clients coming through. I average anywhere from 10 to 16 clients a day. Today was an extra big day because my assistant was in with me, so we had a longer day. But 10 to 16 clients a day, averaging $50 to $75 per session across the board on that. Just to see how the trend's going, I went from closing a gross of about $8,500 in February to $11,500 in March. I closed $13,000 in April, and we're doing this on May 14th. And I've already hit 8,500 for the month, with potential to actually hit my goal of, I want to hit 20 grand this month. And you could have told me a year ago, hey, go make 20 grand in a month by yourself. I'd have said, you're crazy, because I had a cap on. And that's a really realistic goal, because I'm not quite halfway there, but I've set myself up for success already doing that. So it's crazy.
So my question on that, Steve, too, is like, people hear that they're like, oh, 20 grand or 300 an hour, all that. Like, what hours are you working? What is your body like? What is your freedom like? Like, for people like that, they're like, fuck, you must be working 7 days a week. What are you working?
Fun fact, I don't work 7 days a week. I see clients Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do evaluations on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I only treat 3 days a week.
What time do you see those clients on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? Are you from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
I am not. I personally, I work 6:45 a.m. to noon.
Okay.
Monday, cool. Wednesday, and then I stay till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock on Fridays. Yeah. Now, because we've gotten so stacked up, one thing we've done differently since you've been there, I do have another therapist who stays from 11 to 7, 2 days a week on Mondays and Wednesdays. So we have 2 therapists working a long shift, which still, to break it up, but across the board, I only work Monday through Thursday. I'm never here past 1 o'clock doing paperwork or seeing clients. I stop seeing clients at noon every day. I personally, when I said those numbers, I personally see anywhere from 10 to 16 clients during my window. That's during 6:45 to noon. Those are my clients. And then we have anywhere from 8 to 10 coming in the evenings on that time. So just to clarify, those are just my clients in the mornings. I don't work nights. I don't work weekends. I've already closed the clinic down for holidays. coming through. I took a week off over Christmas because as a massage therapist, I wanted to go see my family, and we always have to work holidays. So I just closed the clinic down because it was more valuable to me because I have the freedom to do that. And I know my work potential is going to allow me to make up that time. Doing the same thing for July 4th. We're closing down on the bookend on July 4th to take a long holiday weekend to give the staff a chance to take a break. No other massage therapist is doing that.
And the crazy part is you're doing this during COVID and the pandemic. So
yeah. Oh, and to answer your last question, the only part of me that hurts is my brain because I'm thinking a lot. I'm mentally exhausted at the end of every week, but I have an entire weekend to go decompress and get ready and start over again. I don't have to be worried about making my first massage Sunday mornings. I don't do Sunday mornings.
And you're in your treatment room right now. Can you just stand up real quick?
Yeah.
Can you just show, because I'll have this on Zoom, but for someone listening on the podcast, just show them what your treatment room looks like, just so they can see it. How you don't, just show them your table.
So my table is sitting.
There's Steve's table. I can't hear him that well. Okay. I just want people to understand that there's no linens, there's no sheets.
Oh yeah. Well, that computer goes upon me. So it's a treatment room. It looks like a medical room. We do all of our Zooms in this room, so they get an idea of what they're walking into. All my report of findings across the board. All of our treatments are on the wall. It's all right there. And then the treatment itself is done on a different table. So the expectation here, it'll be easier to see. There it is.
Yeah, it's actually a chiropractic elevation table, but it's very clinical. You don't have to worry about like people changing out of their clothes, doing laundry, oils, and all that shit. You're just fixing people. You're getting paid.
Thing down. It's quick to sanitize. We come through and people feel comfortable coming here, but it's a different environment. So there's that perceived level of professionalism. I get called doctor all the time, and I have to obviously, correct them because I'm not a doctor. I don't want to be perceived that way. Legally I can't do that, but that's the presentation that I give. And I wasn't even by trying, it was just by being professional and again, sharp as a tack, enthusiastic, and knowledgeable right there. It's what you have to be considered a professional. And that's in any profession.
Yeah. So we'll close it up here. Yeah. What would you say to anybody that's on the fence? So I get a lot of messages from people all the time, and they're like, hey, I want to learn your system. This sounds great, but is it for me? What would you say to somebody that's like on the fence that wants to help more people, knows that traditional massage and what they're doing isn't working? Maybe they're burnt out. Maybe they're not as full as they want to be, or maybe they just want to help more people and not get their body beat up. Like, what would you say to them?
Well, cheesy response, first of all. I always say you fail 100% of the times you don't try. So give it a try. Your program's not, hard to digest. You just have to take your homework and study. But in all honesty, same thing we say to our clients. You've done everything else. If it's not working, then there's something that has to change across the board. And if you feel like what you're doing isn't working, you need help, go to the people who are willing to help you. Go to the ones who believe in you that you can do that. And at the end of the day, if it's not for you, he'll tell you. He's very upfront. Dr. Maggio is very clear about what's going on. But the truth is, if what you're doing isn't working, you want to change, you have to try changing. And you can't, you can't force somebody to do that. But it's worked for me. It's changed my life. And repeating what I said earlier today, I'm not special. I'm just committed. And it's been the best commitment I've ever done. I've been a body worker for 15 plus years. And the 2 years I've been focusing on this 100% have changed every aspect of my life for the better. And so if you want to change, you have to make that change and take a risk because it's paid off, and it'll pay off every single time if you follow the rules. So.
Yeah, I think the big thing there is, like you say, take a risk. I don't even think it's a risk sometimes.
It's it's to someone who doesn't get in there yet, they're going to see it as a risk. It's take an investment in yourself. That's more, invest in yourself, invest in your own quality. It will pay off. So risk is definitely not the right word, but it'll pay off.
I guess we like to say calculated risk.
It's a very, very educated, low risk option out there.
Well, I kind of look back at this, and they never thought that anyone could run the 4-minute mile. And then the first guy to do it was Roger Bannister. And then after that, like 500 people did it after that. So Steve is my first 4-minute mile guy. And we have other people that saw Steve's success and they're going from there. And we just want to have more people that we can help, because at the end of the day, my real goal is to get this care to more people. But if I can help you get your business, get your mind right, get your finances right, and get your life back. Like, imagine if you had your weekends, imagine if you had your evenings and you're still getting paid. Steve is a 6-figure massage therapist and he's working less than 25 hours a week. And that's all good and great, but he's helping more people. He's keeping people away.
That's the biggest key, is I'm helping more people. And one last thing, I don't want to get too sidetracked as we're closing it up here, but I went all in. For those of you who are worried about that, quote unquote risk, you have quite a few people in your coaching program that are gradually adding it in. It doesn't have to be a scary jump. It can be piece by piece to incorporate it. And before you know, you're going to turn the corner and you've actually turned your whole practice around and didn't even realize it. So you can incorporate bit by bit to fit everyone's lifestyle and comfortability level as a massage therapist, and gradually you show your clients it works. It doesn't have to be a scary jump. It can be segment by segment by segment. It's still going to work. It's still going to work.
Thank you for that. So I appreciate having you on. And like, at the end of the day, our goal is just to get this care to more people so that they can avoid pain pills, injections, and surgeries, which only make things worse. And it all starts with believing in yourself and believing that your hands and traditional soft tissue work is far superior to anything else out there. I'll keep banging the drum of it, and I'll keep telling people that I believe in them, but you got to start by believing in yourself and understand that you are 100%. A frontline healthcare worker. And when you're providing value and you help people, you deserve to be paid accordingly, and you deserve to have freedom. I'm so sick and tired of seeing these massage therapists that have to work 3 or 4 jobs and they're just burning it at both ends, and they think they're being noble. You're not being noble. You need to be selfish and take care of yourself so you can help more people. So thank you so much, Steve, for taking the time to do this and just, share success. And I'm sure we'll have you on another one down the road. But yeah, if you guys like it, send us a message. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, the video version, if you want to see, two crazy guys going back and forth and talking, and get to see Steve's room. If not, you can listen to it on audio. Hey, all the stuff to join us and be part of the soft tissue revolution is in the notes below. Just got to take that chance and, understand that you can do it better. And hopefully you see more stuff like Steve and people having success. So thank you, sir. And I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Anytime.